What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the BroTech Gaming Podcast. Different episode today, not so much news focused. Carlos and I want to talk about our favorite arcade games growing up. So we're gonna get into that. Did have a couple things to talk about though. First off, the Nvidia cards. We had the new 5080, 5090 just dropped like yesterday, and they were like sold out instantly on like every website that you could possibly think of. I actually had a couple. There's actually a couple coworkers of mine that said they wanted to buy one, and it never happened. So
Yeah, I actually saw a video. Somebody had their grandma staying in line over at Micro Center.
that's crazy, bro. Why?
I guess just like holding a place for them.
Yeah,
But it was like,
yeah.
which one of you like motherfuckers had your grandma like sitting in line? She was just sitting there like on her phone, just like scrolling.
Oh, that's crazy, bro. Like I was looking at some people on Twitter. Like they were actually like they were like in the cart or whatever, and like as soon as it said like add to cart, it said out of stock, like boom, boom, just like that. So everyone's saying like it's a paper launch, but I mean, whatever. According to the benchmarks, it's not really worth the upgrade, anyways. But I guess for people that have been waiting to upgrade for a long time, kind of makes sense. But you could still buy like fourth 4000 series generation and still basically get the same performance. So
Dude, I think about that because I'm just like we like the last like 5 years. So like we started building our PCs in like 2020 ish,
mhm.
and from then to now there has been a lot of improvement.
Mhm.
But you think about from last year or last launch to this launch, there hasn't been that much improvement. And I'm just thinking like how we kind of like hit the ceiling with the like improvement wise, like how much more can they stuff into these cards that are gonna make us spend upwards of $1,000+ on them.
Well, yeah, and somebody was saying in a review too that it costs money to make these cards faster, and it's money and resources that like a lot of places don't have right now. Like they're kind of limited to the resources available too. Although I saw somebody like disassemble the 5080. Like they had like the big ass like 3 fan like cooler on there, and they like took it apart, and the fucking like the actual like board of the fucking like 5080 was only like this big. Like it was small as fuck, but the cooler on it was like this big.
Yeah,
So
I
they
guess
could make it
that's
bigger.
yeah. I mean, I think that's what they're upcharging is just like the cooler size, because
Yeah, dude.
the what is it called, like the PCB inside they got it like smaller, so
Yeah,
like bigger fans is just what you're paying for.
yeah, dude. The PCB is like smaller than my Steam Deck, and they're charging like $2,000 because it's got like a cooler, like the cooler and heatsink on there is literally like triple the size of like any GPU that's come out before it. But yeah, anyways, separate topic. What we'll get into before the main topic. Bitwit, we've been watching some of his stuff. We didn't talk about the fires that happened in LA, but he was one of the content creators that we follow that got hit pretty bad with the fire. Glad he's doing well, but he basically has to start from zero, which is what he's like vlogging right now.
Yeah, you actually hit me up about it, and you were like, "Hey, like Bitwit's house like caught on fire, like burnt down," and I was just like, "No way." So I went to his Twitter and I looked, and he was like, "Yeah, like he had put a picture like where his house used to be. It was all just ash and like trash everywhere."
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. He was like sifting through like all the rubble, and he was finding like pieces of his PC that he had put together. He had a 4090 in his gaming PC, and he found like he would just like picked up his like a card off the ground, and it was like mangled and trashed. It's crazy, man. I mean, I think he'll be okay. He's got a huge following. He's got that YouTube money, but it's got to be crazy, man. Just going from like being like way up here just to being like basically like ground zero. And I know a lot of people are going through that right now. So hope people are doing okay and they're not struggling with all that. But it's hella sad, man. hella sad.
It is, man. I couldn't even imagine just losing everything, like everything, and like all he had, like to his name now is just his car, like whatever clothes he was wearing at the time, and whatever his like his girlfriend was able to get into the house and pull out some stuff, which was like his cats and like some other like I think it was just the cats he was talking about. I was just like,
Yeah.
man, like losing like all that tech. Like I know it's just like stuff. It doesn't really matter, but he said that he lost a lot of like sentimental stuff, like his Pokemon collection. Like I know that he's had since he was, you know, like young. So I remember he made a video about it that he found his collection at his mom's house, and then like to bring that collection out from wherever it was into your house, and now it's just gone. Like it's crazy. I would be super sad if that happened to me.
Yeah, I know you'd be hell sad if it was Pokemon. Imagine you losing all your Pokemon shit. Oh no, Carlos, you're not coming back from that one.
I know, man. Like he's done a couple videos now talking about it, and there was just like he did like an 18-minute video that I was watching on my lunch, and I was looking at the comments, and another YouTuber that I watch, Tech Source, he donated him $500, which is
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
saw that too. Yeah, which is like the maximum you can donate on I guess on like YouTube. That's the most you can donate. I thought about it too, man. I was like, I ain't got money like that, but I'm like, I think he's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
You know, but
he already has a like a little apartment that he's staying in, so like, at least he has somewhere to stay. He has a bunch of friends that he can stay with also, you know.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, the way I look at it, dude, is like, if I'm gonna, to support him, I'm just gonna keep watching his stuff and keep feeding the algorithm. I would also recommend that people that like our content, that like our channel, go check out Bitwit too. Go check out his content. It's definitely supports his channel and helps get him back on his feet with all the stuff that happened to him. So
Yeah, I'll be linking his channel in the description. I'll put a couple of videos of his talking about the fire and stuff like that.
all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna start getting into the main topic of the episode, unless you got anything else you want to add.
Yeah, so so Disney Plus actually dropped a Spider-Man show that I've been watching. It has 2 episodes so far. It's animated. The style of animation I didn't like at first when I first started watching it, because it looked very 90s, but like not like the good 90s. It looked very like cheap artwork. But aside from like the animation, the storyline is pretty good. It doesn't go through like his whole like origin story. It was like his origin story happened like in the first like 10 minutes of the show, so it was good to get that out of the way. And a lot of the characters on there, they're, I guess, different. Like Norman Osborn is like a black dude. Dr. Connors is like a woman. And then like his best friend is like some like goth chick, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
So 2 episodes in at the time of filming this episode. I would say like watch it. It's pretty entertaining. A lot of the jokes land, like had me laughing. So that's what I've been watching.
Okay. I'm gonna have to resubscribe to Disney Plus to get all that stuff, because I don't even think I have a subscription right now.
Okay.
I had to cancel so many subscriptions, dude. I was spending so much money per month on subscriptions. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's how we are too.
Yeah.
Like I don't watch Hulu. Like there's nothing on Hulu that I watch. I had to cancel Apple Plus, even though Mythic Quest just came back. It's one of my favorite shows.
Mhm.
And what else? Like Netflix. I don't really watch Netflix. I know Karen just got Stars, but she got a deal where it was like $3 a month for like a year. So I mean that's
Oh, they were doing a lot of that stuff for like Black Friday.
yeah. So that one's worth it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, this is a topic I had in mind. I don't know why, like, I thought about it. I think it's because I was at work one day and I'm just like, bro, like, I don't really get excited for video games like I used to. Like, looking at all the upcoming games and looking at all the games I'm playing now, I'm just trying to play through it. I'm just trying to beat them. I'm not super excited about new upcoming stuff. And I was like, damn, like, I want to get excited for games the way I did when we went to the arcades. And that's exactly where my mind went that day. I'm just like, bro, like, I miss going to the arcades and like dumping quarters into the machine And like back in the day, like, and I'm not talking about like the ticket machines. I'm not talking about
Chuck E.
like
Cheese.
Fruit Ninja and shit like that that are like basically like all the arcades now are sort of like mobile games, you know? Like Flappy Bird and all that stuff. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Dave and Buster's is great. I love Dave and Buster's. But dude, back in the day, man, like the arcade machines were so like top tier, you know? Like you had like the console versions of some of those arcades, but they were never as good as like the actual arcades that you played. It was so easy just to go and like just dump quarters into it, dude. Like I mean, I say I spent money. Like my parents and my uncle spent so much money on us, dude, like going to the arcades, man. And I grew up living in Reno, dude, so we had arcades everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted this episode to be about. Like me and Carlos are going to sort of talk about like some of our favorite arcade games, a little bit of nostalgia. So why don't you go ahead and talk about your experience with arcades, Carlos?
Well, so me growing up in the AV, there was only two places mainly that had arcades, which was the mall.
Mhm.
And you know, being a teenager in the AV, there ain't shit to do out here. So the mall every weekend, me and Julio, we would chill, like walk around, go to every store. But mostly we spent a lot of the time just in the arcade with the little bit
Yeah.
of money that we had. Um, that one was, it was so nice, man. Like you hear the arcade from like down the aisle, like you turn the corner and you can hear it. So you know, like the games that we used to play was mostly like fighting games, you know, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That was just because we can both play those games at the same time.
Yeah.
And man, like I had Mortal Kombat, I think it was Mortal Kombat 2, like on Super Nintendo, like
Mhm.
way back in the day, man. And I remember that there was a code that you can put in, because if I remember correctly, Mortal Kombat on Nintendo was censored, so so there was like no blood.
That's true.
So I don't remember if I'm remembering this correctly, but you can put in a code to like activate the blood.
It's true. So actually, I feel like it was the first Mortal Kombat because you know you had the Sega Genesis and you had the Super Nintendo. So the Sega Genesis was technically like the inferior console. It was weaker than the Super Nintendo, but the Sega Genesis had the mature version of Mortal Kombat, and then the Super Nintendo had the not mature version unless you put in the code. But then people were like, "Well, like I'm gonna buy it for the Sega because the fatalities are bloody," and like it's kind of funny that they were using that back then as like a marketing tactic for consoles. Like that was like OG console wars. But yeah, you're right though. The Super Nintendo one could have been part one. I don't know, remember if it was part two, but you definitely had to put in a code for like the blood. You know,
Yeah,
that
so
was kind of
that
good. Man.
yeah, so that was one of our favorite games to play, Mortal Kombat. Like trying to memorize the like fatalities and like the babyalities, and I think there was like a one that turned you into like an animal or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think they call. I don't want to call it what I think it's called. I thought it was beastie. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to look that up.
that's
But yeah, so Mortal Kombat was a big one. Street Fighter was always like the number one like game that we would go in there and play, and we would spend hours on that game, just because like Street Fighter, like the moves are so easy to memorize, especially like Ryu and Ken, or even like Blanca. You just hit like down and like the punch, and he just like electric.
Chun-Li's lightning kicks. Pa, 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 pa,
Yeah,
pa.
and like E Honda's like hands and stuff, like they're very just like you just punching all the buttons.
Mhm,
And yeah, but aside from those two games, I think everybody played those games. There was another one called Metal Slug 3 or
mhm.
Metal Slug 2. I don't remember exactly what number it was on, but dude, I love that game.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I think that
you
wasn't that a Neo Geo one. Was that one
yeah,
of the Neo Geo games, or was it standalone?
I think it was, or maybe later it converted, but
Mhm.
yeah, I remember like being able to upgrade your gun. Like you get like a shotgun and like machine gun, and then when you get the upgrade, it's like heavy machine gun, and like the bullets are da 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 da. And I I don't know if it was that game, but you were able to take like different routes,
Hmm.
and then yeah, just like fighting the bosses at the end of the levels and stuff. Like so
Yeah.
fun. Like I could
Yeah,
still play that game like right now and spend like $20, $30 on that game.
it's actually kind of crazy how they have so many sort of like HD remakes of all those classic arcade games, but they're never as good as the original arcade games. Um, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, man. So, Street Fighter was probably like the first arcade game that I would go and like dump quarters into. Like I used to play, like Pac-Man and like Space Invaders and all that stuff. Like when they used to have like the flat, like remember like the flat tabletop ones that you have to go sit down at.
Yeah.
Like they used to have those at like restaurants, and I'd be like, I'd be done eating, and then I'd be waiting for my mom and dad to get done eating, so I'd just go dump a couple quarters into that. But then, like, I'd probably say Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat were probably like the first like games that I would go and play at the arcades, especially Mortal Kombat, dude, because Mortal Kombat was just like it was so violent, and they didn't have anything like that at the time. So when you're a kid, you're like, oh man, I want to go play Mortal Kombat. It's like it's not like they ID'd you to play like like violent video games. Um, but yeah, dude, like Street Fighter was always a good one. Street Fighter kind of set the standard too for a lot of future fighting games. Like those move sets that they had in Street Fighter pretty much carried over into like so many fighting games after it, until they went like 3D. But when you're like years of experience playing arcade games, like, what would you say is like your favorite, like your absolute favorite arcade game that you probably put the most time into?
I would say it's Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They used to have a like a Marvel versus like I don't know if it was like Marvel versus like SNK or like Marvel versus Street Fighter or something like that. And I remember like arcade etiquette was if you were next in line, you would take your quarter and put it on the machine, and
Oh,
then that
bro,
would like signify that you're next in line to play, like the
my
winner.
cousin, dude, my cousin, bro, he was so arrogant. Like he would do this thing where he would like put the quarter at the top of the screen and he would like flick it. Like he would flick his quarter across the screen, and like the dudes are playing and they just got like a quarter going like like across them. I'm like, bro, you're so arrogant, dude. But that was like his thing. Like his thing was Street Fighter, but he was super competitive in the arcades. Yeah. What any other games besides Street Fighter that you used to play a lot, or other fighting games or genre games?
There was one called Time Crisis. I think it was Time Crisis 2.
Yeah.
And that game was so much fun just because it felt really interactive because so you had your gun, and when you would shoot, like the slide would go back.
Hmm.
So like you're shooting, it's like pop pop pop, like it actually felt like not real, but it gave you like the immersion of like realness.
Yeah.
And not only that, it had like a duck and cover system, so it had a pedal on the floor. So
Yeah.
whenever you wanted to go out and shoot, you would step on the pedal and shoot, and then when you wanted to reload, you would take your foot off the pedal, and then he would go back into cover, reload, and you just kept doing that. Like
Yeah.
that game was so much fun. Like I would buy that game if it wasn't like a couple $1,000 just to
Yeah.
have in the game room.
Time Crisis was legit. Like there was definitely like for me growing up, like I got to see a lot of like new genres of arcades. I think fighting games was what kind of like got me in early. You had a lot of platformers at the time, but then like shooting games were a big deal. I think Time Crisis was definitely my favorite. But before I got into Time Crisis, I used to play like Area 51 all the time. Like Area 51 with its just like the side scrolling, and you had to like shoot off the screen to reload, and like you shoot a zombie and they would explode and they'd be like "Roar, roar," like I don't know, dude. It was so fun back in the day. Virtua Cop, I think, was another one. I think Virtua Cop was sort of like a predecessor to Time Crisis because it was like same style. And then they had like a bunch of other variants too that were kind of similar. Do you remember Silent Scope?
Silence Go. That was like a sniper one, right?
That was a sniper one. They had that big ass like sniper rifle like mounted on the arcade machine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used to play the shit out of that, and it had like a little screen inside like the scope that you could like look into.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so talking about one that you were talking about was Area 51. I
Yeah.
love that game, but the only thing I didn't like was when like one of your like the NPC, or like the good NPC would like walk in front of the camera
Oh
and
yeah,
you
and you'd
shoot
always shoot
them.
them.
Yeah, you shoot them and then like you lose like a health bar or something. I was just like,
Yeah,
why? Like why put that in the game?
yeah,
Like I know
yeah,
why, but like it's to get more money, but like it just it wasn't a fun like part of the game.
yeah. I mean, Area 51 was cool too, but like, um, you definitely like dumped quarters into that. Like that was definitely one where you had to dump quarters into. I feel like Time Crisis, like if you got better at the game, you could actually play through like a really big chunk of it without having to like dump more quarters into it. It was definitely like more challenging, and you had to be really accurate with it too because like the console, the screen was huge, and like Area 51, you were pretty much like right up to the screen. But with Time Crisis, you actually had to like step back because you had like the whole pedal apparatus. You actually felt like you had to aim to be accurate in that game. And that's what I kind of liked. And then you had like the like the blowback action. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it always sucked when
Um,
you would find a gun that didn't have that, or like it was broken. Like it
ah,
just like you felt
man.
like you got robbed of your 50 cents to play that game.
Yeah, or it's like if that wasn't working, the sensor was off, so it's like it was always aiming like right and down. So you had to like try to like readjust, and it's like this is stupid. I don't want to deal with that. Um, and then like all those shooter games just started getting bigger and bigger. Like they started doing like Jurassic Park and House of the Dead and like I think
Terminator.
Terminator, yeah. To where it's like you were sitting inside of like a big like seated thing and it was like a ride almost. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they still have a lot of those now, but those things are expensive, bro. It's like $3, $4 just for one game. Like, bro, $4 used to last me like an hour at the arcade.
Yeah, yeah, that was one topic I was gonna bring up. Is just like you can play a game for a quarter back in the day, and now it's like $1, and
Yeah,
it just doesn't have that same feel to it.
yeah,
Like House of the Dead, I loved House of the Dead just because you know like I have that infatuation with zombies, and playing that like the side, I don't think it was a side scroller, but like a choice based, because you can pick which way you wanted to go.
yeah,
And I know I spent like money on that game, because that was like probably like one of the second games I would go to and just try to,
yeah.
and like I felt like I got pretty far on that game, and you just like you run out of money, and then you see somebody else come in and like put a quarter and like
I
start
know, dude,
playing where
and
you took
they
over.
take over.
So you're
Hell
just
yeah.
sitting there
I actually
watching like, damn, like that could be me right now.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I used to do that a lot because if there was like an arcade that I was like waiting for and somebody was really far, I would just continue their game. That was me. I was that kid. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay. What about racing games? Did you ever get into like racing games? I know you love racing games.
I mean, back when I was a kid, I did like racing games. I think it was it called like Need for Speed? No.
Not Need for Speed. So they had like Cruising USA.
Yeah.
They had what was it was like a
Oh,
NASCAR
Rush.
one.
There was Rush.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Rush was good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. San Francisco Rush. I think it was called
Yeah.
San Francisco Rush. Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah.
That
So
one was sick.
I had that one on my 64, and dude, I
Yeah,
played that game for hours, dude.
that was a
Like
good one.
hours
Hell
at a
yeah.
time. Like
And it had like shortcuts and everything too.
yeah,
And you could
and
do
it's
like
just like
kickflips.
if you hit like the street like just right, like maybe like in San Francisco, like you go flying, and like you hit anything in your car is just like like barrel rolling like down the street,
Yeah.
and then you land it and you're like, oh, like
That's actually crazy, bro, because I feel like, that's what people do now in Grand Theft Auto. Like Grand Theft Auto has a lot of those mechanics now where you're trying to find like crazy ass like ramps to do like tricks off of. And I think San Francisco Rush used to do that like way before all that stuff was popular. But I remember playing that in the arcades too, man. It was fun. I played that a lot. The other one that my cousins like to play was like it was almost like a NASCAR one. It was a Sega version. But I can't remember what it was called, man. But it was one of those like more like circuit style ones, but it had like a shifter. Like you had to constantly do like a shift in it. It was Sega. I can't remember what it was called, man. It's gonna tear me up. I'm gonna look it up right now. Talk about more arcade games real quick.
Yeah, so there
Keep
was
going.
Cruising USA, which was that one was really fun because it had like a turbo on there. Like if you hit the gas pedal twice, like flames would come out through the back, and he would do like a wheelie, like a really quick wheelie, and you would go like start to go faster. That one was really fun. I remember my cousin had that game, and dude, we played that game for hours. Like we would get into so many fights over it because it was kind of like that Mario Kart effect where you're first through the whole game, and then like that last lap, that last like quarter, like you get hit with something, or like somebody like hits you into like a pole or like the wall, and then like they win. And I remember, I don't know if it was me or my cousin, but we would just like start like raging because we were just like so mad. Like you did all that work and then just to like not get it at the end. It was like, but I mean, for the other person, it was really satisfying.
Yeah. The game I'm thinking of is Daytona USA. Like they used to have arcades where they would have like rows of that thing. They would have like 10 of them, like 10 of them all in a row. And I feel like that was the one that the super enthusiasts would play. You know, like guys like us would play like Cruising USA and Rush, but then the ones that were like really serious would play Daytona, because all they would do is they would just do like they would just drift all the time, man. Like they would do this thing because it only had like 4 gears you could shift, and like they would just like drift and power slide like through the whole course. And I didn't know how to do any of that shit, man. And I was like, nah, this isn't for me. Yeah, that one was a hella popular one. Yeah, then I mean, racing games just kind of started evolving from there. Like they have the Fast and Furious ones now, and now I feel like it's just about how much money you pump into it. They even have like a Mario Kart one now. I think at Dave and Buster's they have a Mario Kart, uh, like racing game, which is kind of cool. But it's like I don't feel like I'm making any progress in it. You know? Um,
That kind of
yeah.
reminds me of like when I went to Japan, we went to Universal Studios, and they had a Mario Kart game there, and you have to wear like the virtual glasses. So
Oh yeah.
you're not actually racing, you're kind of like just like in a cart, like on a track, and there's like a couple carts like around you, but you can't control the speed of it. But what is fun is you can get, like the question mark blocks, and then you can like aim and throw stuff at people,
Mm,
so that would
mm,
determine like your place, which that
yeah.
game was really fun.
Yeah. Like a modern take. Well, I mean, I think you actually had a. Did you post like a video about that when you guys went to Japan? You doing the Mario Kart stuff?
Not the Mario Kart, because we were in the cart, and you have like a helmet on, so you can't really record anything. But we
Oh,
did
okay.
like the real life go-karts
Okay.
through like Shibuya and stuff, which was
Yeah.
that was like the funnest experience I had in Japan, was just on those go-karts, and like having everybody like look at you, because I was dressed in like I think I was in like a Charizard like onesie, and you're just like in this go-kart like cruising through the streets, like same place like Fast and Furious, like Tokyo Drift went through and like drifted, like you're going
The
through that
circle,
same
yeah.
street. Yeah, it was so fun, man. It's a definitely an experience.
That's one thing that I remember. Like, I mean, I've never been to Japan, but in the Philippines, dude, like whenever I went to the Philippines when I was younger, like they would take us to the arcades in the Philippines, and the arcades in the Philippines were so legit, man. Like they had so many different machines, and they were such high quality. A lot of it was mostly like fighting games. I'll admit that. But if it was like Soul Calibur, all the newer like Street Fighter games, like they had like Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4 was on some of them. Like Marvel versus Capcom. They had Tekken on there, but they all had like arcade machines that were like back to back from each other. So like you always had like your own arcade to yourself, but if you wanted to play like versus, the person on the other side would have to like get on their machine, and then you would go like head to head that way. So it's kind of a different take, instead of like how you have like all the joysticks like on one like next to each other, and you're just like bumping shoulders with the dude that you're playing against. Like you're kind of going head to head but on opposite sides of the screen. So you never like see like who you're fighting.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's like
Just like you
a
could,
better experience.
yeah, because you could literally just be like playing like the main game, you know, like the tower on Mortal Kombat or something. And then just all of a sudden, a dude will just like jump in and like challenge you to fight. But you don't see them. You don't see them pop up because they're just like on opposite. You're on opposite sides, so kind of a different take. But yeah, that was probably also going back to fighting games. I think Tekken was also one of my favorite fighting games. I used to put a lot of time into Tekken, even though they're still making Tekken games now. So
I mean, they still
doesn't feel
make
as
Street Fighter
nostalgic.
games and Mortal Kombat games. The only difference is that with Mortal Kombat, they're just adding like
More
RoboCop
characters.
and like Terminator. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of whack. I mean, they're all kind of like that now. It's just like, how many more characters can we pump into the game? I haven't really played a Mortal Kombat game since like maybe when they reintroduced it again. Uh, Not even Mortal Kombat 1. It was like Mortal Kombat 9. I think it was like Mortal Kombat 9. Uh, and that's when they like changed to like the new like modern version of what Mortal Kombat is now. Which was like fuck man, that was like 10 years ago, maybe that was like 10 years ago. Kind of the same for Street Fighter. Like Street Fighter, I feel like ever since Street Fighter 4, they've all sort of been the same. Like 4, 5, 6 feels like the same Street Fighter games now too. So not as fun, not as nostalgic. I like the nostalgia, you know. That's the whole
yeah,
point of
the
this topic.
last Street Fighter I bought was 4
Hmm.
because I bought it and then like you played through it and it just doesn't have that same feeling like when you were a kid. I felt like I played through that game like so many times
Yeah.
and now with like 4 I think I played a little bit of 5. I didn't buy it though. I think I played the demo.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, like the buttons to like this like Ryu and Ken, they feel the same, like same moves. um like I think they add like parrying and stuff like that, but like the shit I was never good at.
Yeah. Yeah, they basically what they did was they had to like, you know, they kind of kept the same core gameplay, but they had to change the learning curve, you know, and they added things like yeah, the parries, counter. They had like counter systems, and they had like different like fighting systems, and like at the end of the day, like when it comes to fighting games, I think they just are too complicated now. Like too complicated for me to want to like grind and get good at, you know? Like I don't mind picking up a game and just, you know, fucking around with a character for a little bit, but there's not enough there to keep me engaged because just like all you're really doing is just getting good with one character um to play competitively, and it's just like no fun after that. There's no replay value for me anymore when it comes to fighting games. So,
Yeah, that's how I am with fighting games, racing games, like sports games. I remember we used to play a lot of like the baseball. It was like 2K, like
oh
whatever
yeah, like
year it
it
was.
was like 2K5, bro. I think it was like 2K5 back in the day.
No, I think it was later than that because we were playing online.
It was the show.
It might have been the show.
I think it was the show. Like when the show first became a thing on like the PS3.
Yeah, I think we were playing on our PS3 or
Yeah.
like PS4 at the time. It was like one of those, and then we had to use our Xbox like headsets to talk to each other because we,
I remember that.
because we didn't have something, so we had both of our systems on, like an Xbox headset on, playing a PS game.
Because the PS3 didn't have a party mode for chat. Like we couldn't chat in the same like room on the PS3. Like they had chat for like certain games, like competitive games like Call of Duty, but you didn't have like a party chat mode, which Xbox had party chat. So that's why we would turn on the Xbox as PlayStation and have it. That's funny, bro. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we were so innovative.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, thinking about sports too, like NFL Blitz was a pretty big deal, like in the arcade days. Blitz was pretty fun. That was fun.
Blitz was
I don't
so
even know
much
if there's a
fun.
version of it now. Like, do they still have a version of Blitz today? Did they stop making Blitz games?
I think Blitz 2000 was like it might have been the last one, because that's the one that I remember having,
Mm.
and I don't remember new ones coming out, but there might have been new ones that came out, but they just weren't as popular.
Did you play a lot of Blitz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blitz was just so much fun because after the play, you can still go and like tackle people and like body slam them to the floor and stuff like that.
Yeah. Blitz was wild, man. Blitz was so wild because like one play was only good for like 2 minutes. And like I just remember like how like aggro that game was. Because you had games like NBA Jam. Like NBA Jam, you kind of like set the tone, I think, for Blitz for like those style of games. Um, and I just remember like my cousin, it didn't matter what play I picked in Blitz, like he could counter like every single freaking play, and it pissed me off. But I just remember being, it was like 20 yards for a first down, and you could like go and like pile drive people. They had like wrestling moves, like you could jack people up. Yeah, those were fun, man.
One
Fun.
of my favorite parts of that game was like when there was a fumble. So, so when somebody loses the ball, it'll like highlight the ball, and like the
Yeah.
screen will blink. So then you're running towards the ball, and somebody will pick it up, and then they'll get smashed, and then they'll lose the ball again, and like it just kept doing that. It was just like hot potato. It
Yeah.
was so much fun, man. I
There's so
miss
much
those games.
stimulus. There's so much like stimulus too with like those games, like all the like the flashing lights and just everything like in your face, bro. Like I don't know how we didn't have seizures back then. Like arcade games are crazy, bro.
I know, man. We're just
Uh,
built different.
yeah. Honestly, the last time I put any time into an arcade, I guess, besides like Dave and Buster's, was when I lived in Reno. I was working in the casinos, and like on my breaks, on my lunch breaks or whatever, like I would go and like play at the arcades. And the game in my late years that I probably dumped the most money into was Dance Dance Revolution.
I was just about to ask you that.
Yo, I played so much DDR. It's disgusting, man. It's so disgusting how much DDR I played. That was it. Like that was probably toward like the end of my arcade life. You know what I mean,
Yeah, I can say that I never played it.
dude? Oh, I love DDR. I love DDR. They actually had a DDR at the mall, at the mall, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I worked at Home Depot, I would take my lunch breaks uh, at the mall just to play DDR and then go back to work, man. Because we had an hour, we had like hour lunches.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hour lunches, man. I miss those.
Bro, I still love DDR. I don't care. I played on my computer with my stupid keyboard. I just do like the up, down, left, right with my fingers. Needless to say, I'm faster with my fingers than I am my legs now. But that shit was hard, bro. That was cardio, like back in the day, man. My cousin used to play that. You could almost say like professionally. He was like a professional DDR player, and dude was skinny, bro. He was like skinny. He had like a specific outfit that he would wear when he would do like his tournaments. It's like he was doing. It's like he was getting ready for a marathon, bro. He used to have like the K Swiss sneakers because K Swiss were like just made out of fucking foam. They didn't weigh anything. And he was like, "Oh, they're better for like really fast movements." I'm like, bro, he took it so seriously. But that shit was a workout, man.
Yeah, man. When I think of DDR, I think of what was it Grandma's Boy when they're at the
Oh
office and
yeah,
like
yeah.
he's
He
challenging him
had
to
like
the
a whole
game.
arcade setup, man. Yeah,
Yeah, that bro, that movie was so funny, man. I need to watch it again.
yeah, man. Good old arcades, dude. There's an arcade now. I think it's an arcade. It's where the trampoline park used to be in Palmdale, in the mall, right? Like outside of Dick's.
Yeah,
It used to be a trampoline park, and it's called like Sky something now, and it looks like an arcade, man. It looks like sort of like a Chuck E. Cheese or a Family Center or something. I kind of want to go in there and see what they have, but I don't want to be like a 40-year-old dude going in to look at arcade games, man. I just love
Creeper.
video games, bro. I just love video games. I'm just gonna have to like pay a kid like $10 to go like, okay, go tell me what games are in there. You know,
Just
like here's 20 bucks.
get him some of those Ray Bans with the recorder on there.
Yeah,
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 man. We could probably go check that out one of these days.
yeah, that'd be cool. Cause like we go to Dave and Buster's, which is fine, but honestly, the games they have at Dave and Buster's are kind of whack. Like we said, like they're mostly mobile games. Uh, they're not hard games because for the most part you're gonna be drunk when you're playing them, so it's like they can't make it too complicated, you know. But good times, man. Good
I thought they
times. Yeah.
were I thought they were supposed to make a Dave and Buster's out here in the AV.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it seems like they keep closing shit down in the AV, and instead of replacing it, it just turns into a Medrano's. We have like 5 or 6 Medranos out here now.
That is
Uh,
true.
yeah, yeah. It'd
They're
be cool though to have like a another family fun center. We used to have the one behind Best Buy, Mulligan's. That closed down. Never did anything with that. Um,
I forgot about that place. Yeah. I used to go when it was called Dimples.
Dimples.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Because
so weird.
like the golf ball has like dimples on it.
Yeah.
Because it was more of a what do you call that? Like what do you call that golf? Like the fun golf?
Miniature golf.
Yeah, miniature golf. It was more
Yeah.
of that. They had like the whole like setup in the back.
Yeah. I guess that's why they changed it to Mulligan's.
Yeah.
We go to Mulligan. We could use another family fun center though. Like those were good times. I just remember how sad that arcade got because machines would break and they wouldn't fix them. They'd be out of order. And then most everybody just did the laser tag. I remember everybody used to just stand in line for the laser tag, which was all right, but I don't know, man. It's hard coming from Reno because the arcades in Reno are so freaking nice. Like anything else just feels sort of subpar, you know? But that's how it be. I don't really have any other arcade games to mention. You have any honorable mentions you want to bring up? Arcades, memories?
Mostly just pinball. Pinball was pretty fun. I mean everybody knows how to play it. Like all you had to do was just tap 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 tap.
Yeah, people go hard for those though, man. Like they have like those bars now that are set up with just pinball machines. Like that's all they promote are pinball machines. I never really got into pinball though. I found it like I always broke it because I didn't know that like if you smashed all the buttons, you would basically like tilt the pinball machine and then you couldn't hit the paddles anymore. And then I would just like waste it. And I would just I just wanted to smash buttons. That's all I gave a shit about.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that was like the safeguard for it. So
Yeah.
that way you weren't cheating and kind of like tilting the machine so that way it hit the paddle.
Yeah. I think that was like when those were in the heyday. I think I was too young for it. That's basically when they had like, that was basically like the Pac-Man days. They had Donkey Kong, um, Galaga. Like those were all sort of like the classic arcades back then. Pinball. So I guess for me, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat were like my first true generation playing arcades. And then I just kind of grew up with them, man. I think that's why I'm so into gaming now, dude. It's just like I've been gaming my whole life. Ever since arcade games were a thing. Ever since the first Nintendo.
Yeah, true that. That was my first experience was like the NES, just Mario, Duck Hunt. I don't remember having any other games, man. It was just like Mario and Duck Hunt and I just played that for hours.
Tetris, bro. My parents bought Tetris. I'm pretty sure they bought it for them and not for me.
Oh, there
Yeah.
was another arcade game where like you stack the blocks.
Mhm.
So you have like 3 blocks and they go back and forth and then you have to stack it and like the higher you go, like the better like prize you would win.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they still have those. You just push the button, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like the light that goes back and forth. They still have that, dude. They have those. See, I don't really consider those arcade machines though, man. Those are kind of like the claw machines where it's just like you're just trying to win a prize.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not the same as like arcades, man. They used to have stories, and you could choose different characters, and it was about how far you could get. Like it was about how far could I get into the game on like 1/4, and now it's just about like how much more money can we pump out of these kids. It's not even like about the quality of the game anymore. It's so sad.
It is.
So
Thievery.
sad. Cry about it. Oh well, shoot, man. I guess that was a little shorter than I thought it would be. I don't have much else to bring up. I just really want to talk about arcades and growing up. I just kind of missed that feeling of getting excited to play video games. Now it feels like a chore.
It does, man. Like
We got all this expensive shit, bro. We got like multi-$1,000 computers and consoles and like OLED TVs and shit. I'm just like, I don't want to play nothing.
Yeah, it's not only that, man. It's just we don't have time. Like I get home
Yeah.
from work, I put like maybe like an hour into Marvel Rivals, and then after that, I'm like, all right, I gotta go take a shower. I gotta get my food ready for the next day. I gotta, play with the dogs a little bit to tire them out, and then get into bed and like try to fall asleep, which is the
Yeah.
hardest. I
That's what I was doing last night, bro. I was playing God of War last night on my Steam Deck, and like I only played like 30 minutes in, and my ass started falling asleep while I was playing God of War. I'm like, this would never happen at the arcade. you know, like, this would never happen if I was playing DDR.
Yeah, man. Maybe we need to do like a vlog of us going to the arcade and just trying to find nostalgic games.
That'd be cool. I'm gonna get down on that DDR, bro. I'm serious. Like I haven't like, I mean, like I don't have the cardio anymore, but like the mind is still sharp. You know what I mean? Like my mind will carry me through some of those hard ass songs. Let's bring some deodorant because I'll probably sweat really bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
All right. Well, cool, man. I don't have anything else to add. Do you have anything you want to add, Carlos?
Yeah, if you guys can like the video, subscribe, hit the little ding-a-ling dong, whatever that is. I don't think that thing
Oh,
works anymore, but
Oh, the bell, bro.
oh yeah, the bell. Hit the bell.
What the ding-a-ling dong?
Ding-a-ling-a-dong, whatever it's called. Hit that. That way you
Called
guys
the
get
notification
notified
bell.
whenever we upload videos. Help us out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
or you can
that's
hit the notification bell.
yeah.
Yeah, which is what it's supposed to be called.
Yeah, but I've heard it doesn't really work anymore, so it's kind of just there for decoration. But hit it anyways.
Hit it anyways. Get that notification. So yeah, another quick announcement before we end this episode. We might be doing a double feature one of these weeks. Me and Michelle uh recorded a little bit of an episode of a podcast. I got to make some edits though because the mic quality wasn't great. So not this week, maybe next week. We might be doing like some back-to-back episodes, like just to upload, probably Spotify. So just be on the lookout for that. Yeah, otherwise, catch us on the next one.
Bye. Have a good
Peace
week,
out,
guys.
y'all.